What's going on, everybody? Dale Valor here from Modern Flirting. You are now tuned in to the incredible Dale Valor's Inner Game podcast. And you know what, Shabam, I was going to grab it and I totally forgot. A couple years ago for Christmas, I had gotten like this little toy thing it's basically a sound effect machine, and it has like you press a button, there's like, hey,
yeah,
clapping, and like I was gonna get that for this, but
that would have been actually funny. But
yeah, next week I'll remember. Yep, I meant to grab it before I came downstairs, but I forgot. But once again, here we are. Dale Valor, got my trusted confidant, Shabam, here. And if you don't know what this podcast is about, let me clue you in. Okay, so inner game. All right, what is inner game? It's a relationship that you have with yourself. All right, so if the relationship with yourself suffers, so will all the other relationships in your life, romantically, professionally, building the type of social circle, the people that you want as a part of your life. Look, if you can't trust yourself, if you don't have the type of confidence in yourself that you need to have, you are in the right place, because these are the things that we deal with largely on this podcast. If you are coming back to it, welcome back. If you are new, welcome. Check out some other ones. We got a gang of them now. So, but today we have a special guest that's going to be joining us here before too long. This is a guy that I met at my most recent boot camp in San Diego a couple of weeks ago, and just profound, man. Like, as soon as this dude came through the door, I was like, this is my guy. Like, this is my dude right here. What do I see? Okay, let me set the scene. So we've got about a dozen guys sitting around in the living room of the place we were staying, right? Now, Steven was going to be giving a presentation. So we're all kind of like, I was just wrapping mine up when he gets there. And as soon as the door opens, one, like the most jolly fat Asian dude I'd ever seen in my life. All right. And and it sounds like I'm making fun of him, but I'm not. Wait till you see what his brand is called. All right. So he was just all smiles, all giggles, Then also with him, a porn star, like a legit porn star, not just some girl who calls herself one because she's got an OnlyFans somewhere. No, super legit. Turns out to be his wife. Then his assistant, who is stupid hot, by the way, also there, dressed to the nines. Like, everybody looked great. I'm just like, all right, this guy's blowing me away already. Okay. Then he gets into his presentation. So turns out he's a hypnotherapist. All right. And which inspired me to get my own hypnotherapy license, so I can say I'm a hypnotherapist now. Still got to work on it a little bit, kind of hone my skills up. I'm definitely not at Steven's level. And I'm going to have him try to show you guys a couple of things too that he did at the presentation. If it translates. I don't know if it's going to translate via Zoom, but we'll see what we can do. Okay, he might have a couple of tricks up his sleeve that he can pull out that will make more sense. I don't know. But he hypnotized everybody, basically by doing a couple of different things, like the whole group, and it was fire, man. It was really dope. And so I'm like, this is a guy that I need to know. So, in modern flirting, one of our biggest strengths is our promotion of social circle. You building out the type of social circle that you want, because, as the old saying goes, the 5 people that you're around the most, you're going to be the 6th, right? So, there he is right there. So with no further ado, let me let him in.
Yep.
All right. So anyway, so I was completely blown away, and I'm like, this is a guy that I need to know. Then the funniest thing about it is he's like, oh, by the way, I have a church. And I'm like, oh, word? And so he's like, yeah, yeah, you guys come out. Whoever wants to roll can roll. So me and a couple of the students, we go to his church on Sunday, which was the most mind-blowing thing ever, by the way, because what I was expecting was not what happened at all. All right. I remember I was telling Jared, I was telling a bunch of the guys, I'm like, I'm about to kill it at this church, man. Like these are the places I shine, where I can sit down and really chop it up with somebody for a while. I'm thinking there's going to be all these porn stars there. I'm going to get in there and kill it. We walk in, and one of the students that came with me was like, man, the look on your face when you saw that it was just the most regular church. I mean, not regular in a bad way, but I mean, it was like any other church service I've ever been to in my life, in the sense of the structure of it, the presentation of it, just everything about it was just like everything that I was used to growing up in church. And I was just like, huh. When, like I wouldn't have known it. But with no further ado, Steven stepped into the room here, and we were just singing your praises here, buddy. How you doing?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we're good. Steven, this is my my co-host Shabam.
Hi, Shabam. How you doing?
Yeah, pretty good. Man, like I was just telling the guys listening to the podcast here that as soon as you walked in the door, I was like, this is my dude right here. Like, I was like, this is the most jolly fat Asian dude I'd ever seen in my life. Like, this is somebody I need to know.
I remember you took a picture with me and my wife. You're like, oh, people need to see this picture here with a fat Asian dude with a hot Asian porn star.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, man. The reason I did that is because, hold on. It's that California cough, man, every time. So, yeah, man. I don't know if have you ever heard of the black pill? You've ever heard of that before?
The black, I know red pill, blue pill, not black pill.
Okay, all right. So So you know how there's a movement in, we'll just say, the manosphere called the red pill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's another one called the black pill, and these black pill dudes drive me up a fucking wall. Their whole thing is like, everything is predicated on looks, money, status. Like a woman will not be attracted to you no matter what, unless you have looks, money, status.
No.
And you know, I'm a firm believer that that's not true. It doesn't help, of course. You know what I mean? That would be foolish to say that it doesn't help, but we're talking about getting your foot in the door. We're not talking about closing the deal. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I had just been going back and forth online with a guy that's all into that, as you were there. And I was like, all right, man, I'm about to flip this dude's wig, man.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yes.
You know, so that's why I was like, hey, you know, like, can get a picture of you two together.
I love it. Is this podcast video or just only audio?
No, it's video too.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yes, I'm going to ask you to take your shirt off here momentarily.
Hey, you can't afford that.
But yeah,
and it will be paid. That make it paid.
Okay, there you go. I'll do anything for money.
So, you know, one of the biggest reasons I wanted to have you on, not only to, you know, promote the things that you have going on, which is super dope, by the way, you know, like this guy's written books, you know, like, I mean, you to me, you're kind of like a Renaissance man, in the sense of you kind of got, you know, your fingers in a lot of different pies. And then being the irony is being dubbed the world's laziest millionaire. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy to me, because like I see you doing all this stuff, man. And in large part, this podcast is predicated on people overcoming adversity, you know, dealing with, you know, past traumas, how they got over it, how, you know, moving into a new direction, and now they're crushing it at their current point in life. So one thing I really don't know too much about is what's your background? You know, like, where do you come from?
What do you mean by that? Like my ethnicity or?
Well, what I mean, like, if you can kind of give me a brief synopsis of, you know,
how you started,
coming up, you know, like how did you arrive to where you are now? I guess is what I'm asking you. For
sure. So I have a book called Success is All BS, as well as Becoming a Wealth Magnet. And so it explains in this book here, these books, what when I was 16 years old. So growing up, my dad and my mom my dad's military, Navy. So I'm a Navy brat. And so, military household, lower to middle class life. I'm not wealthy by any means, but not poor by any means.
Yeah.
But long story short, growing up, it was always like, hey, man, it doesn't grow on trees. Hey, let's just be, mediocre, yada, yada, yada. And so my dad's Filipino. And so by him hitting me on the head with a pan in the mornings, it was definitely it's not called abuse. It's called being Filipino and disciplining your children. So, I just got tired of it. It just was very, 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 it was a very abusive home. Long story short, because this is recorded, I want to make sure everything's allegedly. I went to juvenile hall for some things, a lot of counts of charges against me. They told me you're looking at being charged as an adult for 25 years to life. And Jeez. Yeah, it was big time. If they charged me as an adult, they could charge me as a minor or they charge me as an adult. Thank God they put me as a minor, and they sent me to a group home. So that was like a halfway house. Yeah. In this halfway house, I got counseling, therapy, more anger management, Alcoholics Anonymous, everything you can think of therapy wise. So then before I can graduate the program, it's an 18-month program. They said, before you graduate the program and go back into society, you need to find a court-appointed mentor. And my probation officer told me, be careful who you find as your mentor, though, because whoever you find as your mentor, that's who you're going to become. And so I said, okay, who is the richest motherfucker I know? Can I curse on this podcast? So like, who is the richest person I know? So I said, okay, my dad's good friends with this guy who's a real estate investor in LA. And long story short, gave him a call. I said, I need you to be my mentor. I want to be like you. And the rest is history. And so when I was 18 years old, he had me read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad multiple times.
Great book.
Yes, very, very good book. So I read that book and I started a photography business. And I remember at 19 years old filing my taxes at $213,000. Wow. That was the lowest tax I ever filed. And so, so 18 years old, code 19, filed taxes. And my mentor told me, he says, he's not impressed. He goes, I'm not impressed. You're still broke. I'm like, huh? Like, how many other 19-year-olds is making $213,000? Yeah. And so as a photographer, so he says, no, because look, tell the next bride that calls you that you can't shoot their wedding. I'm gonna see how rich you are. And I was like, huh? He goes, you're not rich by how much money you have, but how much time you have. Time is more valuable than money. Then that's where he started teaching me how to hire on people, hire on staff, a sales team, a salesperson, a photographer. So let the salesperson promote you, and you send out that photographer. And so I was like, okay. So I started doing that. So I started shooting multiple weddings and growing our photography business that way. Long story short, that was from 18, 19, so 19 years old, hired staff, 19, 20, 21. And you also told me everything you make, put half of it away in savings. Save half of your money. And so I said, okay. So I just did it. Half of the money I made every time I made money from the photography business, I put it away in savings. By 22 years old, we have accumulated enough money to start investing in real estate. So 22, 23, 24, at 25 years old, after flipping homes and photography business, and at 25 years old, I remember going to Bank of America, depositing $4 because I was only $4 away from $1 million. Oh, snap. So I deposited $4 and I was like, oh my gosh, my bank's only $4 away from 1 million. So I deposited at $4 and it felt so good to get that receipt back. Yeah. $1 million and 32 cents. And I was like, wow. And I asked the lady, can you print out like 20 of these receipts? And she's like, no, I'm sorry. I'll print you one receipt and then you can go and make copies. I'm like,
you're going to laminate it and wear it around.
Right. I know it's been so many years now. So I lost it. I wish I had it still, especially now I'm speaking and stuff. Anyways. Yeah. So that was my very first time making $1 million. So 25, then started buying other businesses. So the businesses I've personally started myself is photography, daycare, and talent agency in Los Angeles. So photography, daycare, and another agency. Photography, daycare, and cleaning business. Those are the three things I actually started. And then all the other ones I pretty much bought into as a partner.
Gotcha.
And so moving fast forward up to 2019, let's say pre-COVID, BC, before COVID. Before COVID, by that time, 2019, we've had 10 corporations running with over seven figures each company. We have over 600 staff members. And that's where Forbes and Inc. and Huffington and all these other people, reached out and started doing interviews on me and all the other jazz. And so, we were publishing books, speaking internationally, just going crazy with this brand. But long story short, actually, let me backtrack. 2016, I got a stroke.
Oh, wow.
I was 27, 28 years old. I got a stroke, my first stroke.
Your first, so you've had others too? 2
strokes.
Okay.
Yeah. And so long story short, it comes with the territory being fat. Anyways, so, the doctor told me, like, look, I was living in La Jolla. I don't know if you're familiar with San Diego. La Jolla is like the rich part of San Diego. San Diego is like Beverly Hills of Los Angeles. So it's a very wealthy area. So I was living in La Jolla, minutes away from the beach, poolside view, top level. And as these paramedics and paramedics and fire department were coming in, I was like, half my body was just numb. And you're like, wow, this is a nice place. They look at my ID, my driver's license. Hey, you're only 28 years old. You're 26 years old. How the heck are you? XYZ, 26, 27, 28. And so, anyways, I was just like, can't barely speak. And they just kept saying how young I was and where I was living and yada, yada, yada. And we're driving by, in the actual ambulance. And they're talking about all the houses nearby. And I can't believe this guy is from this neighborhood. Like when I was 26, 27, 28 years old, they're all just talking about themselves. And so then I thought to myself, if I die today, all I have to leave behind is money. All I had to leave behind is money. And people think money is legacy, but it's not. My wife, if you know my wife, she is very expensive. My legacy will go right to Louis Vuitton, Prada.
Hey, don't think I didn't notice the handbag when you guys were at the house. Don't think I didn't notice. I've seen that. I was like, oh, okay.
$4,000 bag, for crying out loud. And so, anyways, so for me, it's just like, okay, there's my legacy. Like, I'm gone, and there's my. So this is where I thought to myself, like, what is real legacy? I was here, this ambulance. I had a stroke. I could still think, like, just my body can't function. And I was thinking to myself, what the hell is legacy? And I was like thinking about this book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And I was like, this guy's been dead for years. Yeah. But he's still making an impact today. And I was like, okay, you know what? I need to write a book. I need to go out there and do. So then that's where I decided when the stroke was subsided, I was better. Yada, yada, yada. I told my wife, Angela, we need to create income with impact, success with significance, and not just the aspect of just hustling for ourselves. And so that's where the passion to writing books and coaching and helping others came into play, because, prior to that, it was all just me. I was just like, people would ask me questions, but I was like, no. I'm focusing on me. I'm going to do me. I'm doing my own business. I'm doing my own. Yeah. And so this is where I said, I need to help people. And so that's my mission since the stroke, was I said, okay, I'm going to help fuckers get rich. That's dope. That's pretty much my passion. So it's my passion project. So I'm still hustling. Now, unfortunately, because COVID happened, a lot of things, it's funny, like, oh, I'm a lazy millionaire, I have passive income. But then when the governor says everything shut down, everything now, daycares, restaurants, clinics, everything shuts down. I'm like, oh God, I have nothing. And so the only thing that was having us survive with income was my wife's vagina, So I said to my wife, I said, your vagina's feeding my belly. And so anyways, we had money saved up, whatever else, but the stream of income stopped for my end with all the different businesses. And so that's pretty much where I just like, okay, I don't know what this life has to offer. I got COVID. I went to the hospital for COVID, and excuse me. So I was like, okay, there's another wake up call. I may die again. So So I've had a lot of multiple near-death experience.
Mm-hmm.
And from that point, I just said, okay, I need to freaking help people. I need to just get out there and help people. Yeah. And so I've had multiple people to come to me and tell me, you changed my family tree. My entire family, X, Y, and Z, we were here. Now we own all these different buildings, X, Y, and Z. And for me, I just get goosebumps thinking myself like I made an impact. Praise the Lord.
Dope. Super dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Well, I know in one of the ways that you help people, and I've seen it firsthand, is with your hypnotherapy.
Yes.
How did that develop? Like, when did that start playing a role in, like, I need to learn this, and now that I know it, now I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? Like, what's the genesis there?
Yeah. So then as I was doing business, I've been fascinated by sales. Mm-hmm. My mentor really hammered, if you want to be wealthy, you have to learn sales. You have to know how to sell to people. You need to manage, you need to master people and personalities. So I've been just studying and How to Win Friends, Influence People by Dale Carnegie. That's a great book right there.
Yeah.
And that's the very first book on personal interaction, and developing your relationship with other people. And so then from that, but when I look into it, I was like, okay, I'm doing all this stuff here. Later on, I started studying a lot of Tony Robbins, and I started studying because I started doing speaking. So then I started speaking, and it's like, okay, I'm going to present and sell, my coaching offer and see if I can coach people. And so I just started doing it, whatever else. In the beginning, I remember my very first time I ever spoke on a stage in front of like 45 people. I was like, here's my cell phone number, guys. If you guys have any questions, give me a call. And then I just went crazy, and I was like, dude, I don't know if this is not sustainable. Yeah. So then I said, okay, I need to develop an actual coaching business out of this thing. Yeah. And so long story short, I started getting into learning more about sales, and then people started telling me, what you're doing is hypnotic. It's NLP. And so I started learning. I started looking into hypnosis and NLP, and started copywriting. And so then from that point, I was like, okay, so long story short, Dale, sorry. I learned hypnosis because I was so fascinated by sales and the persuasion for getting money. But then when I started saying, okay, let me try this on a relative who's dealing with a lot of depression and suicide, and I found out you can do this as therapeutic to help them. So I was like, let me try this. So I was like, hey, let's sit down and talk and X, Y, and Z, and start doing the things I was learning. And I was like, oh shit, this is actually work. Their depression and suicide left them. They're feeling so much more motivated. Yeah. I was like, I got to freaking go to school for this shit. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. For this stuff. So then I went.
You can cuss, man. It's
okay, cool. Yeah, motherfucker. Anyways, and then I went to Las Vegas and found this guy. He is like seriously the guru of hypnosis. All the hypnosis shows in Las Vegas studied underneath this guy, and so I hopped in. It was a good few weeks staying in Vegas, a very expensive week because we stayed in hotels, but learn hypnosis and how to hypnotize people and the power of the subconscious mind. And so that's where it all started. Was the genesis of hypnosis was from me learning it for sales aspect, which I still do, but then the therapeutic aspect. Oh my gosh, I just love the therapeutic aspect because as I'm coaching people, like to say, hey, make these phone calls, call these people up, do this, do that, they'll get hiccups on their own mental states, and I can go and help them. Mm-hmm. So unlike other coaches where it's like, hey, you deal with fear, you deal with imposter syndrome, you deal with phobias, you deal with anxieties, work on your anxiety, get rid of it. I don't say get rid of it. I say, let me put you to sleep, let me put you in trance, and let me get rid of it for you.
I got you.
Yeah.
Do you find, like early on, like if you were helping, friends or relatives or something like that, did you find that it was a little more difficult for them to like trust you or be, induced? You know what I mean? Like just on the strength of that they know you, you know what I mean? Like kind of like the, prophet and never listened to in his own hometown type of thing.
Yeah. So a little background too, right? Because you were talking about the church. My wife and I both met in Bible college. So 18 years old, I was enrolled at Bible college.
Yeah.
So with that being said, my heart has always been, yes, sales, but never sleazy, take advantage and never, the wicked guy who just takes your money and run. I've always had a heart to help and serve, hence the ministry.
Yeah.
But, with that being said, because people knew my heart, people who did know me, would see me and be like, oh my gosh, will you help me with, so actually, no, quite the opposite. People ran to me when they learned I became a certified hypnotist because they knew and trusted that I would be able to help.
Yeah.
Rather than being fearful that what the hell, now you have this special powers or whatever else. No, it was people always knew what my heart was. And so, yeah, so it's actually quite the opposite. People do still get scared of hypnosis. Actually, last night we were at a networking event here in downtown San Diego, and people were like, hypnotist, oh my gosh, you're like mind control, this. Yeah. I'm like, you can look at it that way, but
it ain't voodoo, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's movies, man. Like, it's because of movies. Like, you watch a lot of Hollywood, and you see someone hypnotize someone to strip naked and run around the road, and you're like, yeah, that's what she's gonna do to me. So hell no, I'm not touching that shit.
I mean, the thing that's crazy to me, that when people kind of throw out that objection, or maybe not an objection, but just that shock or surprise factor a little bit, that sounds kind of creepy or weird or something, like that kind of thing. It's like, look, everybody is in a trance, in a hypnotic trance at all times.
Yep.
Really all trance is focus. That's all it is. So when all you're doing is narrowing that focus to a certain thing that can be addressed, that's Absolutely. All it is. If you're driving around, how often does your mind start to wander and you're thinking about everything other than driving, and then you drive past your exit. You're like, right. Oh, shit,
Right, exactly.
You're in trance,
Exactly.
So
I was telling last night, they said, well, what do you mean hypnosis is normal? I said, have you ever watched a movie that is sad and dramatic and you cried? He goes, yeah. They're actors, it's fake, you're sitting in your living room, but yet you're crying. You're creating a real response to a fake scenario.
I love that. And Shabam, back me up on this. How many times have I said that exact same thing when it comes to storytelling?
Yep. It's exactly the same thing.
Man, I've said that. What you just said, I have said countless times.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I explain it to the people, they're like, oh, yeah. It's all hypnosis. The movie Titanic is one of the biggest hypnosis movies out.
It was one of the initials, what started the whole thing. Yeah.
Who's the bad guy? The rich guy. Who's the good guy?
Yeah.
I thought the bad guy was the iceberg.
Right. Well, the love story, right? The love story is the bad guy is the rich guy. Right. The poor guy is the wealthy guy. I mean, the poor guy is the good guy. Right. And that's what America has been programmed to think. Being wealthy is bad.
Yeah.
So in a lot of movies, that's how it's portrayed: is the rich guys are the mean guys, the bad guys, and the poor guys are the heroes.
Yeah.
But so there's that aspect of hypnosis, and also all the music played. It goes with beats of the mind and how the mind, the binary beat. So it's like
it relates to it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if somebody watching this podcast or listening to it or whatever, if they're like, man, that sounds crazy interesting and sounds like Steven knows his shit, and they want to work with you, what does that look like, from day one? How does this work?
So there are different ways to work with me, right? Because I'm a hypnotherapist and a coach, a business coach. I say, what's your objective? Do you want more for just pure therapeutic, or do you want to actually achieve some goals in your life? And so we use therapy and strategy together. So there's different aspects of what you want. So I guess the first thing to come up to me is, tell me what your goals are. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you how we can work together. So I have clients who we met at this event in San Diego. One person wants purely business stuff, where we're using hypnosis and business strategies. Another client just wants only hypnosis. And so we're not talking anything business, but strictly just hypnosis. So there are different ways of working with me. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. So for instance, we'll say Shabam's like, hey, I'm Shabam's a business owner, and we'll say that he wants to grow his business, and He comes to you, you're like, look, this is what I'm trying to do, man. How can we make this happen? You know, like what are the steps? If you can kind of bullet point it, I guess.
Or like a short demo of like, you know, let's say like, okay, I basically come to you. I have like in internet business, like say marketing, for example. Okay. And now I want to grow it and basically make it like something similar to you, more like, you know, hands-off approach, a bit more passive, and make, you know, like you say, basically say more passive and like, what would be the better word for it? Yeah, essentially that, like something where like I have more freedom to do what I want to, like, you know, like freedom of time, essentially.
For sure. Yeah. So if we work together, you know, let's say, for example, Siobhan, you were a client of mine, and you as a client of mine, you invest in yourself. You know the power of investment. So you invest in a coach with hiring me as your coach. So as I become your coach, what happens is that you get excited first off with the possibilities. And with the possibilities of hiring me as your coach, what we then do is we figure out first off, what is stopping you from going to that next level. You see, we don't have an information problem. Everything's on YouTube. Everything's on TikTok. Everything's on Amazon. Or you can buy the books at Barnes & Noble. Everything's out there. We don't have an information issue. So, Siobhan, what you and I will do first is we'll figure out what is it that's stopping you from that next level. And so if you say, well, I have for example, there's someone that Dale and I are very associated with the same person. When we started working, they had a hardest time paying someone else because they didn't want to let a dollar go. They're like really, really crunching their money. And when it came down to it, the issue that they had was the aspect of scarcity. And even though there was money coming in, it was still a poverty mindset, thinking that this is all I'm going to get and this is all it is. And so I had to work with their subconscious on how to think on prosperity, abundance. So first and foremost, what you and I will do, Siobhan, is we'll figure out what is stopping you from the next level. And so it's 80% subconscious and then 20% the strategy. And then we figure out, okay, now let me train you how to be more persuasive and influensive using persuasive languaging on how do you enroll staff members? How do you get people to enroll into your vision? Once you get them to your vision, then how do we get them to be excited for your vision, to be passionate as you are? So then becomes leadership development. Then we develop you as a leader to those people. Those people run with your vision and just rock it and do it. Sales, processes, X, Y, and Z, the actual execution. So now all you're doing is management. And then after that, we take a step further where me training you as a leader, I train you to be a leader of leaders, where then we develop management systems. So other people will be managing the staff. Does that make sense? So first and foremost, those are the process. First and foremost, it comes down to what's stopping you in general. So Siobhan, what's stopping you right now in moving to the next level?
I would say commitment, as in rather than commitment, it's like when you commit so much time, sometimes you are like, because of the way the internet is working and, you know, so many things are changing, you are unsure as to like, okay, me spending so much time and money into this, is it a wise investment? And again, you overthink yourself out of it, or sometimes you don't commit as hard enough in an opportunity that, you know, could have been much bigger overall. That's one thing. Second, I would say would be like, it's part of it that becomes an excuse as to your laziness, you know, maybe it's not worth it, or, you know, maybe something else will come, like it peters down to laziness after that. And that's like, those I would say are like the two core things, you know, because it's spiral down. It's like spiral of excuses, right? You start from there and then you know, start making excuses for why you couldn't do it, even though you know how to do it. You have the knowledge for it, but you know.
So it sounds like you have a fear of failure. And the thing is, though, is that what I do is I help you love failure. People are afraid to fail. If I invest this money, what happens if it doesn't work? If I invest this time, what happens if it was a waste? What happens if? But the thing is, though, is that entrepreneurship is never about 100% success. You know, in baseball, if they hit just a few times, but they know they miss majority of the time, they can still be called the MVP. You think about that. And so it's the aspect of, yes, it's a fact. 1 out of 10 businesses will succeed. So all you got to do is try 11 times, because all you need is one business to succeed. And people think, oh, I failed once, I failed twice, I failed 3 times, I failed 4 times. I'm just going to go get a job. I quit. No, it's 10 times. So understanding the odds of failing and saying, like, you got to love to fail. I love this aspect. This guy who he was afraid to fail, so he was afraid to even start anything. Because I need 100% assurance and guarantee. I'm like, bro, there is no 100% assurance in anything. There is no, you can walk across the street to the grocery store and you can get ran over and die. That's not 100% assurance that you're going to live tomorrow. Nothing is guaranteed. Nothing. So with that being said, in your fears you're telling me right now, it's you got to love to fail and be okay to fail and be okay not to be perfect and be okay to learn from the process. And people think, oh, but I just don't want to waste the money. I just don't want to. But the thing is, though, is that it's not wasteful if you're learning. So as long as you're learning and you're growing, you're going to succeed, just as long as you don't give up. So my job as a hypnotist to you is I would help you to literally get fucking turned on by failure. Oh, I failed, bust a nut. You know, like that kind of loving the fail. Because if you say, okay, I got to fail again. That was amazing. You're going to do it again. Oh, I failed, bust a nut. Oh, man, okay, I'm going to do it again. Fail again, bust a nut. Oh, I love it. Do it again. Fail. Oh, bust a nut. Try it again. You try it again. Okay, you fucking succeed. Now you're like, okay, I'm rocking. This is amazing.
Okay, I don't have to change my boxers.
Yes, you know, exactly. But the thing is, though, is that people don't fail and bust a nut. They fail and get depressed. And that's the difference between the multi-billionaires and those who are barely getting by. Those who are barely getting by looking for security. I want security. I want to make sure this works. I can't give and expect extra money. You know, there's a friend of ours, Dale, and I know, I don't know if you know him, but, you know, he only had $5,000 to his name. He seriously got his phone and tossed it to me and said, hey, look at my Wells Fargo.
He's Shabam's actually building the Modern Flirting website.
Ah, okay. Yeah. So Jared's a great example. You know, he had $5,000 to his name. And I was like, hey, Jared, you want to grow. You know I'm capable of doing this for you. The question is, do you want it? If you don't want it, then don't do it. You are wasting your time. He goes, no, I do want it. Well, if you do want it, then invest. He goes, I don't have the XYZ amount of money. Like, fine. How much is your rent? He goes, my rent's $900. Like, keep 1,000. Give me 4,000. So are you kidding me? Then, like, because now you're burning the boats. There's a concept, I think you're rich, about burning the boats, where it's like, I have no other option but to succeed. I have no other option but to move forward and prosper. And that's what he did. And now if you look at him today, 7-figure earner. And so many people do not burn the boats. They say, no, I don't need to play it safe. I don't know what the economy looks like. I don't know if my paycheck will come in next week. I don't know if I'm going to have enough money for gas. I don't know. Then fucking walk. I don't know if I have enough money for food. Go eat top ramen. You know what I mean? It's like people are so afraid and holding on to their life, their investments, their whatever, because they don't want to fail. But in actuality, the biggest successful people out there are constantly gambling every single day. Every single day. Think about this. The athletes that we all look up to, the athletes we look up to, they're struggling. They're getting sored. They're getting, broken bones and all this other shit because they know it's part of the process. They don't go out there and saying like, I'm never going to get hurt. No, they go out playing and practicing with the paramedics right there ready for them because they know it's part of the process. And so that's why they become champions. But those who don't become champions are scared to fail. So they don't want to play 100%. They want to make sure they're safe. Yeah. But we have to understand, you know what? If I go broke, fuck it. Money can be made back again. If I lose out on time, I didn't lose, I learned. And that's the thing, is that we have to be people who love to fail, who are willing to risk it for the biscuit. Otherwise, if we don't, We're going to stay mediocre. There's a famous quote. I say famous. People know me for this quote. If nothing changes, nothing changes. And so if you want a change in your life, something's got to change in your life. If you say, well, no, I want to do it this way. I just want to go ahead and figure it out on my own. You're never going to figure it on your own. There's not a single successful millionaire, billionaire that says, I've never had any help. I've never had any advice, never had a mentor. They've all had skin in the game. And so that's long story short. It's a long story. I would say my advice to you is get some skin in the game and quit being a pussy and just buy in all the way. Yeah, buy in all the way.
Yeah. Like another question, like a follow-up to it would be like, like you said, how do you stay consistent? Because for me, initially it was similar. Like there was a point where I had pretty much lost everything. Okay. It basically COVID, like I had just finished my college. Then I had a good job and everything, lost the job due to COVID. It was basically like I was IT in tourism. Obviously COVID and tourism don't go hand in hand. So that kind of was a disaster. It was a good startup company. And like I was getting to learn a lot and everything, but it kind of went, to the shitter. So right after that, I decided to start my own thing, like seeing as I want to work from home and everything else. And that's how I started my business. And initially it grew very well. Okay. I basically now, like even now, I'm making more than what I made, when I was doing a job, basically. The problem came like one and a half year later, where it's like the consistency, like the speed and, the first day, like, when you're starting something new, you're like really hyped, really, on that level. But how do you stay consistent for like, with that, like excitement and consistency over a long period?
There's a book by, I forgot his name, but there's a book that says, find your why. When you find your why, the reason why you're doing what you're doing, you find your why, that's what sustains us. If we know
Simon Sinek, I think.
There you go. Yes. Yeah. If you find out why the hell you're doing what you're doing, then that's what will push you forward. For me, I know my why. My why is my stroke. I want to leave a legacy beyond myself. That is my reason for coaching. I know my why for wealth. My wife and I don't have a buying list. Like we want to buy a house. We want to buy a car. We want to buy this. We don't have a buying list, Now we're religious here. My wife and I have a giving list. We want to buy houses for people. We've bought houses for people. We've bought cars for people, like for single moms and for so we don't have, we want to buy 20 homes for people this year. We want to buy this many 50 cars for this many. So we have a list of why we need wealth.
How do I get on this list?
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask. That was literally my next question.
So
who do I message?
So we don't have a list for us to whatever else. Now, do we go on the vacations? Do we go on the this and that? Yeah, we do all that. My wife has a very expensive taste in clothes. It's funny is like, anyways, I'll just say it. My wife, I was like, we were shopping. I was shopping up with Virginia, my assistant, and she was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I got this, my wife's underwear, whenever things bleached or whatever else." And I was like, "Oh my gosh," and my wife was like, "Oh my God," and she was like, "What? It's just underwear." I was like, "No, that was like $600 for one underwear."
Jesus,
that's an expensive underwear.
Yeah, very expensive underwear. Anyways, so so my wife has a very expensive taste. But with that being said, the way that we process our finances, we do 30, 30, 30, 10. So we live off of 30%. 30% of our income is our living expenses, rent, bills, yada, yada, yada. 30%. The other 30% we save, the other 30% we invest, and then 10%, of course, we tithe and we give. And so because we live off of this 30, 30, 30, 10, because my why for income is to give, as my giving expenses increase, so does my income expense increase. So does my tithing, my giving to the ministry increases. And so my why is to give. My why for coaching is to leave a legacy. So if you find out why the heck you're doing what you're doing, someone asked me yesterday, actually, okay, I just want to know is how can I make mad money fast? And I said, is that really your purpose? He goes, that's my purpose. I was like, great, sell hookers and drugs. I mean, if you want the real, the reason why, then I'd say go buy some drugs from Mexico and resell it, because that's mad money there. So I mean, just for clarity, if any lawyers or the DA is watching, I'm not suggesting that's a joke. Anyways, I got to be careful with this internet stuff. Anyways,
Yeah.
So in reality, it's like, it's not just about making money. Why do you want to make the money? Why do you want to do the business? And so one of the things I do with my clients, whether it be business talking or hypnotherapy, what is your fucking purpose in life? What is the reason you're on this earth? What is your purpose? If you find out your purpose, then you know your power. But if you don't know your purpose, then you don't know your power, then your life is pointless. And that's the preacher side of me, right? The PPP.
Yeah.
But that's the actual
true. Yeah.
It's very true. So you got to ask yourself, why am I here? What is my life purpose? What is my reason for being? And so that is what I love to help people discover, is to say, well, what is your purpose? What is your, well, I don't know my purpose. We go through down their history in life, and we find out. I love the aha moments, the moment they go, I say, okay, well, how is it when you're childhood? How is it in your teen years? How is it in your high school? How is it in college? How is it? So as we go through their life and progress, I'm great spotting. Okay, it seems like your passion and purpose is X, and they go, oh my gosh, it is. And now that person changed their complete career because we figured that out. And then moving forward 3 years later, as a client back in the days, 3 years later, they're like on the top of their game, promotion after promotion after promotion. They live so fulfilled in their life. They've never been happier. But you have to. So if people says, okay, I'm doing X, Y, and Z business, there's no reason, there's no why, there's no purpose, there's no X, Y, and Z, then yes, you're gonna get drained, and you're gonna be like, okay, well, I'm tired, because it's the aspect of, you need to find your reason for doing it. And so you have to be people. We have to be people who are purposeful in life. Everything has to have a purpose. People say, hey, can we chat? I'm like, why? Hey, can we hang out? Why? What's the purpose? What's the point? And so, does that make sense? So everything in our life has to have a purpose and a reason. And when you have the purpose, you have the power.
Love it.
That makes a lot of sense.
Super dope.
Yep.
That
applies to me very well. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. What were you saying, Shaban?
Yeah, because that applies to me very well, because that's literally it. Like when I was down in the dumps, kind of, having money issues and all, that was kind of my purpose. Like, get the fuck out of this, like get your shit sorted, sort of thing. But once I did that, the drive kind of, died down, and that makes a lot of sense.
Well, Shaban, you should definitely explore and consider working with me as your hypnotherapist and life coach.
Yep.
And get you to the next level.
Yep.
One of the things that really struck a chord with me when you were giving your presentation at the house, where we were at, was the fact that it was some of the group hypnosis things that you did, and I'm wondering, is there, now you tell me, I'm not trying to put you on the spot or anything, but how do you have any kind of little things you could bust out that would work over Zoom?
I mean, everything I did can be done over Zoom.
Okay. All right, cool.
Because it's the aspect of it's not my power, not my control, right? So but here, let me go ahead and give you a little
demo.
Okay.
A little demo, yeah.
All right.
Just don't make me go naked or something.
Oh, I can't guarantee that. Just joking. Remember, Shaban, nothing in life is guaranteed. Okay.
Quite literally. Yep.
Okay. Okay. So, Dale, I'm gonna practice with you right now. Okay. Well, for everyone out there, just think out loud. Just think in your head. So, what color is printing paper?
Printing paper?
Yeah.
I'd say like an off-white.
Okay. Wait. What color is clouds?
Also, it depends on the cloud, I guess. But
okay, let's just say just cartoons. What
generic.
color?
White.
White. Okay.
Yeah.
What color is supposed to be, not every time, but what color is supposed to be our teeth?
White.
Okay. What color is milk?
Milk is white.
What do cows drink?
Water.
Hey, okay. Majority. Now, here's the thing that shows me with that answer, that shows me how your brain works. Mm-hmm. But usually people would say milk.
Milk. Yeah.
Yeah. So people would usually say, so those who are listening right now or watching.
You would have got me, but that particular exercise, I do that with girls, like when out and about. Okay. I do that same exact thing.
I would have fallen for it. I would have fallen for it.
But the way I do it is like this. Say silk 3 times fast. Silk, or 5 times fast. Silk, 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 silk. Say milk 5 times fast. Milk, 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 milk. Say ilk 5 times fast. Ilk, 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 ilk. Okay, what do cows drink? Milk. Like the rhyming pattern of it,
Right. Okay. But so with that being said, the reason why I would go down that path, so you already know. But for those of them who didn't know, but they would still say water, that shows, okay, this person is very analytical, right? And so with that being said, I say, okay, what can I do to get them? So because Jared told me that the group that I was speaking at, a lot of them were engineers and brainiacs and whatever else, that's why this exercise worked.
Yeah.
Because this exercise are people who are very analytical. Makes sense?
Yep.
Now, Shaban, just because you weren't there, what this is pretty much, this is nothing magical, by the way. This is a freaking washer I bought at Home Depot, and in a string I bought at Home Depot. So I had Virginia just tie a bunch of these strings. But if you can get a necklace or whatever else, but if you put this in front of your eyes, you hold it straight as much as possible. Hold it still as much as possible. And what you do is you say to yourself, in your head, left, right, left, right, left, right, and hold it as still as possible. What you're going to notice is that it starts moving left to right, even though you're trying to hold it. And so the reason why is because those who are analytical are so focused on, now this might not work on a person who's super creative. So if we get for example, female to do this, they're more emotional based, not logical based.
Yeah.
This might not work because they're not focused on that. Makes sense? You're telling them to focus on it, but really they're looking at you or looking around, whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Where those who, when I found out, okay, these guys are very smart engineers, doctors, so okay, that's why I brought that exercise. So do you know what a lemon is? A lemon?
Yeah, a regular lemon, right?
Yeah. So open up your hand right now. Okay, if those who are watching and those who are listening, open up your hand in front of you, like a palm facing up, and look at your palm and imagine a sliced lemon. And so ask yourself this question: what color is that lemon? So Siobhan, answer that. What color is the lemon?
Outside yellow, inside a bit green.
Okay, perfect. Now go ahead and get that lemon in your other hand. Go ahead and do that. And look at it. Imagine it sliced up, right? The usual slice. Now go ahead and put that in your mouth. Just go ahead and squeeze. Go ahead and now bite into it. Now taste the sourness, not sweet. Go ahead and put it back down. Put your lemon away. Yeah. Now the ring flavor, the residual flavor of the lemon soury in your mouth makes you want to squint a little bit. And let me ask you this, Siobhan. Did your mouth salivate a little bit?
Yes.
And so that, my friends, and those who are watching or listening, is hypnosis. And so, I use lemon drops, or lemon drops. I use that Sour Patch, but I don't know where everyone else. This is international podcast, right? So I don't know. So it's like this.
Clearly, you're like, do you know what a lemon is?
That's why I processed. It's like, does lemon have some different meaning there, or am I missing something? I literally took an extra second to,
I love it.
Some slang that I have no idea about, what is going on. So, that's why I asked it's a normal lemon or like something else.
So that right there is hypnosis. That right there is a powerful thing I was talking about hypnosis. What I did for college is I brought out a curling iron. You know what curling iron is, right? For hair. For girls' hair, I brought out 2 curling irons, And I brought it out, and I had the extension cord all the way to the backstage. Okay. They're not plugged in. I said, okay, I want to do a competition. Whoever can hold this the longest will win a prize. Will win a prize. So there's these two, students, guys, comes up and they're holding onto the curling iron. I said, they're not plugged in yet. But I want you to hold it right here. Have them sign a release form. So the sign a release form won't sue me if they get,
burned or something, yeah.
3rd-degree burned, whatever else. So I said, okay, we have our staff over there, so we have the girls on the side. All right, ladies, ready? We're gonna plug it in. When I say go, you guys almost ready, ladies? And then I heard, the girl on the side was like, oh, wait, 1 second. Okay, I'm almost ready. I'm ready now. And so, okay, guys, ready? Hold it. Do not let it go. Let it go the moment it gets too hot for you. If it gets too hot, let it go. Otherwise, if you burn yourself, that's not on me. You sign a release form. Ready and go. They plugged it in. Immediately, they're like going. One of them just let go. Like, another guy let go. And I was like, what happened? Like, it got hot. And I said, ladies, and they showed the end of the cord. There's no plug. We cut it off. We have never plugged in the very beginning. And we put the power of the subconscious mind. And so, with that being said, one of the exercises I like to do, is go out when it's freezing cold in just a t-shirt and shorts and try to see if my mind will warm up my body. I'm not fully there yet, but I do know there's some monks in studying this will go out to the freezing snow and sweat out of heat because their mind is so powerful that it can control the temperature of their body. And same thing, I've tried it myself, going to freaking out in the hot summer, in the beach and being so freaking over 100, but imagining the snow. I'm like, okay, my body's temperature is going down. I still get sunburned, but my temperature, my body goes. So with that being said, the mind is so freaking powerful. If the guys can imagine a curling iron getting hot when it's not even plugged in, imagine what your mind can do when it comes to your business, when it comes to your abilities to make money and succeed and hit your goals. And that's why I love what I do as a hypnotherapist, is to help people reprogram their mind to achieve everything that they ever wanted.
Super dope. So what's the best way that somebody can get in touch with you?
Yeah, I would say, will there be like a show notes to this, whatever else?
Yeah. So when I upload this on YouTube, I'm going to, whatever you tell me is going to be on there.
Shoot me an email, a direct email to me, Stephen, Stephen, at stegela.com. Shoot me an email. In the subject line, put Dale Valor. So I know that where you guys are coming from, or whatever. Is there a title to this podcast?
What's that?
What's the title of you guys' podcast?
The Time Limit? Is that what you said?
What's the title?
Oh, Dale Valor's Inner Game Podcast.
Okay, just type in Dale Valor, and when you type Dale Valor in the subject line, I'll know you're from this podcast. Being that you're from this podcast, I will send you a free hypnosis audio to help you. Well, first off, the audio, I'll do better. I will give you a course I sell for $300 for free, and it's on how to break through procrastination. So you talk about procrastination. There's a free course up there. If you shoot me an email, I will send that to you. It's about 45 minutes long on how to break procrastination through hypnosis. And it's a really powerful course. I usually sell for $300. I'll put it together, a little funnel thing here, give it to you guys for free. Sounds good?
That's super dope. Super generous of you. I was going to do that course. I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, but no, that's super dope. And your comedy, where can they check that out at?
Yeah, just look me up on TikTok. Look me up on TikTok. Crazy. I branded myself as the crazy fat Asian. The crazy rich Asian, but I'm the crazy fat Asian. And so yeah, I might hypnotize you to get fat like me. So that's a different story. But speaking of comedy really quick here, the reason you brought up comedy, the reason why I decided to do comedy is because, keep in mind this, a lot of the guys here are people who are inner game and in the dating world, keep in mind this, is that emotion dictates motion.
Right.
Okay, let that sink in. Emotion dictates motion. If you're not invoking another person's emotion, be it through comedy, through drama, through whatever, you're not going to get to the move at all. So if you're talking to a female, you're talking to a business partner, you're talking to a prospect, invoke emotion, and then they'll have the motion. If you do not have any of that, you're never getting nothing out of no one. So that's the reason why you mentioned comedy. That's the reason why I'm getting into stand-up comedy, because I want to master the art of emotion. And I consider myself really funny. I'm pretty funny, but I'm more corny than funny. So I want to be actually legit funny. So yeah.
I get you.
Yeah.
Well, you make me laugh, man. So
no, like honestly, you're one of, like, even I would say, like, Dale told me that you're a very jolly person, you know, like when I'll meet you, you're probably gonna like him. And I'm like, yeah, damn, man, like you're definitely like you don't feel like, you know, like you feel as if you're really smart, but at the same time you're like a very friendly, you know, what you say, the friendly elder brother kind of vibe, like fully, yeah, like that sort of a thing, like someone you can trust, who will be there for you, but who's not, you know, gonna like berate you for, you know, like you do a mistake or like you do a fuck up, and he's gonna be like, how the fuck did you do that? Like, you know, like that sort of a thing.
You know, as a matter of fact, I say, I'm so proud of you for failing, but you definitely failed.
It's funny, Shabam, that you bring up like that brother type of aesthetic. I was telling somebody about you, Steven, just a couple days ago, and I was like, I'm looking at that guy like Steven's like my like a somehow an older brother but younger than me.
Like that's literally the vibe even I got. Like, you know, it's like, you know, he's the guy you will chill with, have fun with, but at the same time, when shit hits the fan, you're gonna be like, hey Steven, like need to talk to you, you know, like you're gonna you know, also have that conversation, like the difficult conversation. But yeah,
absolutely.
All right, well, that's what's up. I think we're good. Appreciate you coming on, Steven.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure to chop it up with you, you know. Shabam, not so much, but
great chatting with you guys. Thank you guys so much. And for anyone listening out there, as you shoot me an email, you know, you're gonna get the free course, but also mention in the email if you do, or if you are interested in working with me as a business coach, life coach, or hypnotherapist.
Absolutely, 100%.
By the way, you're not on YouTube, Stephen, by any chance?
I am on YouTube, yes.
No, okay. Because that's what I wanted. Because TikTok is banned in my country. I can't see even if I want.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, yes.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, in India. Yeah, like in India, TikTok is long banned. Like it's been banned for like a long time. I don't know. Like it was some legal issue with like the data was being misused or something, and they just got like, you know, full nuked it. Like, okay, that's completely gone.
Is there like an Indian version of TikTok? Did somebody like start?
They should create one.
Yeah.
I was gonna say somebody would have had to fill that void. I mean, there's 2 billion people.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. Yeah. But yeah, you can find me on even Dela Cruz.
Okay. Thanks.
Right.
Yes,
that's what's up.
All right, thank you guys.
Appreciate you, and I'll talk to you soon, bro.
All right, you guys take care.
All right,
peace.